All right. Hello, everybody. It's the Meista from Brews and Tunes. Cheers. Very, very, very excited today. I am chatting with rock goddess, Jody and Julie of Rock Goddess, the Turner sisters, one of my favorite bands of the new wave of British heavy metal. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Nice to meet you.
How are you doing today?
Good. Yeah. Sat here with a glass of champagne.
Nice.
That's always good. Yeah. And chatting about metal. What's not to like.
That's perfect. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I've got a pale ale with me here, but yeah,
That's
a glass
good.
of champagne sounds lovely as well. So
That's very posh.
Yeah.
We're not that posh.
First I wanted to ask you kind of what's been going on with the band recently. You guys put out an album a couple years ago. This time is the name of the album. It came out in 2019. Fantastic album.
Oh, thank you.
And really cool because it's just a continuation of Rock Goddess. You weren't trying to. It's not nostalgic. It's not trying to be something. It's change.
Wow.
But it's still very cool and very organic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Because that was something that was really important to me, that it still had an eye in the past. It still was us, still Rock Goddess, but wasn't completely what's the word? I can't think of the word. Disjointed from what's happening now. So it's trying to get that blend of, we are in this century, but also this is where we're from. So that means a lot. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it definitely has that feel to it. It feels very organic. Like I said, it just feels like a continuity, part of the continuity of and the evolution of Rock Goddess. It feels
Excellent.
like this is the next album. It's great. It's a
thank you
album.
So much.
Yeah,
thank
really good stuff. Have you been, especially now that we're in this pandemic world that we live in, have you been working on any new music? Are there plans to do anything like a follow-up album at this point?
Yep. I have been writing. Obviously, I've had time. So I've written 10 albums now. But yeah, I have been writing. We also do have a box set release coming up. We're waiting on permissions and things like that, hence I sound cagey already. But we're really excited about it, and all goes well, then it's going to have stuff on there that missing albums. It's going to have some real cool stuff on it that people have never heard. So it's quite an exciting release for us. And I think, we've been knocking around for a few years, 15, wasn't it? So I think it's a good time to do it. Actually, it's got live stuff on it. And so, it's really exciting.
That's very exciting.
Because of permissions and getting things released.
Yeah. Do you have do you have a target date for the release at this point? Or are you still trying to work through all the licensing?
Still trying to work through all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, I'm not personally, but people are.
You've got
lack
people.
Of detail, you might notice, but yeah.
That's very exciting. I'm
really
thrilled.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. And it's lovely going through some old stuff and deciding what goes on it. It was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's some great stuff on there.
Nice.
Really. So watch this space for that, and obviously a new album would be great. Just let's get back out there. We haven't played for so long. We had gigs coming up, they got cancelled, and as the same for everyone. For obvious reasons. And so we're kind of like, we have a tour next year with. Sorry, I wonder what that was. Sorry, we've got a tour next year with not Heavy Petting, Diamond Head. Ever so sorry, we toured with Petting before. So we got a tour next year with Diamond Head that we're really looking forward to. It's beginning of January, running into February. So now we're starting to get into rehearsals again and starting to plan for that. So that's really exciting as well.
Yeah, that's very exciting. That'd be a great tour. Is that primarily there in England? Is that a European tour?
Yeah, it's just UK for that one. Yeah.
Okay.
But we do have stuff is written down because I have no memory of dates.
I'm right there with you.
We're playing a big festival in Spain, in Barcelona, in July, and there's some other dates starting to float around in Europe, but because everything keeps getting moved.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, it's hard to have anything pinned down at the moment. But yeah, I mean, the diary's starting to get fuller. Trying to get back out there again, really.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, and I'm sure that's got to be frustrating because you did have, like, as you said, a bunch of gigs lined up, but now it was primarily in the UK as well, correct?
Well, no, we end of last year, was it? I am getting my years mixed up because of this pandemic. I'm kind of end of last year we had French dates, but they were probably moved from the year before, moved twice, 3 times. Hence, I'm getting confused. So yeah, we did have some European dates, but they just kept getting moved.
Gotcha.
And so we're still waiting for these to be firmed up. It's just
Nice.
what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you can't really do much about it.
The UK ones definitely happening. Please don't let anything stop that. January, we're really looking forward to that. Love Diamond Head, they're amazing. So really looking forward to that. It's going to be good.
Yeah, very cool. That's very exciting. Especially, I love Diamond Head. As you can see, I've got a poster right there, an album right there of Diamond Head. So yeah, I love those guys. They're a great band. In fact, I saw them. Well, it's been several years ago now, probably 2017. I think it was when that album came out. So their new singer, the young guy that's in the band now.
Amazing. He's lovely.
Yeah,
because we have played with them before with Saxon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we did some nice t-shirt.
Oh,
we did some dates with Saxon and Diamond Head. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Very cool. Wow.
Really fantastic memories of that. Yeah.
I need to move to England. All my favorite bands. I mean, I'm a huge fan of that era, that, the late 70s, early 80s, that metal. I mean, that's kind of, for me, it's defining metal in a lot of ways, Iron Maiden,
really?
Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, all the new wave of British heavy metal, Diamond Head, Rock Goddess, Girl School, all that stuff. I love all those bands from that era. And it just,
I mean, who knew at that time when we were playing that it would be such a important time in metal's history? But I mean, just at that time, you're just playing metal,
right.
You're aware you're at the beginnings of something sort of really, really cool. But
I was going to ask you, did you have a sense that there was something, big that you were part of at that time? Did you have a sense of that, or were you just kind of, hey, we're just doing our thing? Or did you realize, wow, there's something really big happening?
I mean, metal really did fly. I mean, I seem to remember it just getting bigger and bigger and more popular. I do remember having a sense of that. Do you? You were so young.
Yeah, I was just so young. We were just living it and doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cool that we can now look back and think, oh, we were part of that NWOBHM thing. So proud of it.
Yeah,
it's so cool to be a part of something that's so unique in musical history, isn't it?
It is.
But at the time, for me, especially being so young, I was just like in it and just doing it. Really.
What I love as well is we go to gigs and there are guys that rock up, and girls that are 20 dressed exactly how I would have dressed in 1983, and it's just like they've looked that up and sort of found out how people were dressing it, and it's lovely. I just think that's really so cool.
And when you look back at some of the things, the pictures, and you look at what we were wearing sometimes, it's like, whoa, that is so weird.
Some of it, though, I must say, my hair, and what was I thinking with the big hair helmet thing? I mean, it's just like, but that's fashion, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's all part of it. I wouldn't change a bit of it. But
lots of hairspray, and I mean, I had
so much
feathered hair. And...
the environment. oh my god. Yeah,
exactly. So speaking of those old days, well, let's go back even further. Like, so how did you both, and this is a question for both of you, maybe one at a time. How did you originally get started in music? And I know your father worked in the music industry, but how did you get, in terms of musicianship, how did you get started playing instruments?
It was our father. He is a musician, always was a musician. So that was the kind of environment we were brought up in. And I'd always played a little bit of piano badly, and we were a musical family. My dad was recording, and we used to record in studios and things like that. And he started Rock Goddess. He said, bring a friend. I had a best friend called Tracy, to bring her down to rehearsal, and basically started us then, 3 of us.
Wow.
But he was clever, because basically he wanted us to feel like we were in a band really quite quick. So get a sense of it. So at that time I was just playing a few chords on keyboard, and like that's how the first beginnings was, me on keyboard, and then Tracy had a bass and just like playing one note, and Julie gave her that sort of 4/4, and then immediately we were like, oh, we're playing music, we're in a band, you know. And so we're really, really excited. We were so young. She was 9, you know. Wow. And then then we were like, oh, really loving it. And then we had to learn to play, and we did all learn to play together. That's what's quite unique about that lineup with Tracy, is that we did hit our first notes together. I then moved to guitar, started to learn guitar, and then my dad run rehearsal rooms then, so we were very lucky that we could just rehearse in this very nice rehearsal room. And then we just learned, and then a few years later started doing gigs.
Wow, nice. Was there
crazy story, really?
Yeah, that's why, especially, I mean, yeah, you were really, really young. Well,
I was bloody old compared to her. I mean, I'll never be young enough, because people go, oh, you were 13. Yeah, but she was 9, you know.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's mad, isn't it?
We did our first gig when I was 12.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were 14. All right. Yeah.
No, there's 4 years between us, Julie. The maths is no good. I think I was about 16 and she was about 12. She played Reading when she was 14. So
wow.
So we'll never be young enough, because she was always younger. Yeah, we were all pretty young.
Yeah, you were just kids. So what was that first gig? Do you remember what the first gig was? Where did you play?
101.
There's a club in London, called I don't know if it exists anymore. A 101 club in Clapham Junction in London. I don't know if that's we did play some. He just wanted us to get out and try it, and we played like a working man's club, and someone called the bingo in the middle of it. Do you remember that? Or said pork pies were for sale. It was something really bizarre, but it was just, and there was older people in there. I remember we were kids thinking, why is everyone old? And actually it was, they all clapped, and it was just getting us used to being on stage and learning our craft, basically. And then the 101, I think, was after that, which is more like a, you know.
No, I think the 101 was.
Oh, was it the first? See, we're so terrible. Yeah. Unfortunately, it was so long ago. All right, it was the 101. Yeah, I don't fully know, but yeah, it was just sort of doing a few gigs here and there just to sort of learn.
Right.
As all bands do.
We did colleges.
We did colleges, you play schools, stuff like that. So yeah.
That's wild. Were you playing at that point? Were you were playing covers? Were you playing original music yet?
Right. So we started with covers, and then I started to write. But it still wasn't metal at the beginning. It was rock. Okay. Then I found heavy metal. Well, we found heavy metal. And I wrote a song called Fine Line, I think, had a metal riff in it, and I was listening to Def Leppard and Iron Maiden, and I was really getting into metal. And then I wrote this, and then I said, that's it. And I've been the whole set, wrote a metal set, and that was, I didn't look back. I was like, this has to be it. This is the way we're moving forward, whether you like it or not.
No, it's so good. It's so great. I love that stuff. Did you when did you start playing with your contemporaries? When did you start playing with those other bands? Was it in those early years?
I'm trying to think of, because we did a tour thing with other girl bands, but we were the metal band and they weren't metal. So I get, when did we start? I don't know. But, well, what was our first tour? When we played, we're known for this. Our memories are really bad. We played the Marquee.
Bear with us.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. The first marquee, I don't think there's probably so the first marquee we did was a cancellation, which my dad, so how old are we? I'm a bit older, I think we're more like
Richard.
yeah, but it was a big deal playing the marquee. It was a really big deal, and there was a cancellation, and it wasn't a support, it was for headlining, and it was a pivotal point in our career because we started to get stuff in Kerrang. We were starting to accrue a metal audience, a metal following, but this really solidified it because we went there, it was rammed, and we were backstage, we were terrified because it's the marquee, and my dad said, we played a couple of gigs before. No, this is when we were out doing our own gigs then in different places in London. And he said, what was the words he said? He was umming and ahhing about the marquee because he said we did a bad gig, and he said I could have picked 3 girls off the street and they would have been better than you.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean he was joking obviously, but did make us laugh. And he was like, oh, so he's umming and ahhing about the marquee, and then we went on. So we were backstage, and I think it's the first time we ever heard this God, yes, God, and the crowd going mad, and we were like, do you remember that? It was, and then we went on, the place just erupted, and that was definitely a pivotal moment for us. And my dad said we performed like he'd never seen us before, and he was like, that's the band.
Wow.
You know, not the little gig we played. Obviously we were losing, we get bored, I don't know. But yeah, it was the most amazing night of my life, still possibly ever. And that really did move us up a level. And that's when people started, we did more marquees and people come to see us, and then we started picking up interest from record companies, and then we played Reading, got a deal and stuff like that.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool.
A little bit out of order. But,
no, that's fascinating. I mean, especially considering how young the 3 of you were. It's mind blowing that, you were playing these gigs with, these bigger gigs. I mean, that's pretty wild. I mean, I guess that happens now too, I suppose, but not to the same degree, not kind of building your way up. And I mean, the fact that you're playing clubs, as kids is wild too.
Yeah, I mean, we did our, we did start from the bottom
and worked up.
We learned our trades, in clubs and pubs, and did all of that.
Yeah.
So
and that's what I like about rock bands. You that's the evolution of a band, isn't it? It's you're not thrust onto a big stage, more manufactured way. I mean,
But again, we
do the hard work.
We were very, very lucky. Like when we toured with Def Leppard and Iron Maiden, we were then doing these massive gigs.
I mean, Maiden, it was in Scandinavia, and that's when Dee joined us. And Dee had just only played pubs. We literally, I think we had to boot her on stage because it was like, and it was terrifying for us. It was ice stadiums. It was like,
oh
wow, this is when we walked in. Just the blood drained from her face, basically, because it was just immense gigs. Anyway, we just always rose to it. We always rose to the occasion, which is cool.
Yeah, I'd always heard that. I remember reading years and years ago about what a hard-working band Rock Goddess always was, and playing all the clubs and kind of. I don't remember where I read the article. I just remember reading, and it was an English writer, and he was talking about. I think it was an article about NWOBHM and bands from that era, and how
they worked.
Well, and all those, a lot of those bands, really worked really hard, and I mean, and I think there are bands that still do to this day, but they're not huge. It's more the working class bands. People that trying to make it, and you got a tour.
Social media to get people to know who you were. You had to go out and
with bits of paper, flyering and all that kind of old stuff. It still does work, I think. But I mean, to build your following up, you literally had to put yourself in all these different places. Like you say, social media didn't exist, so you had to physically do it.
Yeah.
And but you're young and you've got the energy and you know, good. It's what makes you a better band, without a doubt. All those gigs and all that stuff makes you a much better band. You learn it's not only being a tighter band, you learn your skills with an audience by being in front of an audience. There's no quick shortcut there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You so after was Young and Free came out in 87, correct? I believe.
Yeah.
And then the band basically split up around that time. However, you formed the Jody Turner band, which kind of was more rock, right? Or still kind of an extension of the metal.
Metally, well, I mean, the guitarist was really shreddy, so it was all so it was still quite metally, but the songs I was writing then were quite not poppy, catchy. Would that be a fair assessment? Yeah. But it was still metalish, rock metal.
I mean, you do write catchy songs anyway.
Yeah. I mean, syphilis is catchy. It's not necessarily a good thing all the time. But, you know, but yeah, I mean, but I love that. And for the box set, we're hoping to put some live stuff on from that, because there's some absolutely brilliant stuff. Oh, that sounds big-headed. Great stuff. We love it. We dug it out and we're like, oh, we want this heard. You know, it's really good stuff. Yeah,
that'd be great. I would love to hear that stuff. Because the same thing. It's something I'd read about. I'm like, oh, I want to hear this. Where do you
Yeah,
how do you hear
we're
this?
excited to put all this stuff into one place and just say,
so you reformed Rock Goddess in what it was around 2013 or so, I think. Or around there, 2012, somewhere around there. What was the catalyst? What made you decide to kind of get the band back together, as it were?
Oh, this lineup.
Yeah.
So sorry.
No.
Well,
with Jenny.
No, this is with Tracy. This is us. We have to explain to each other what's going on. Yeah. So basically, me and Tracy, well, me and my dad, we wanted to start Rock Goddess again, but we were waiting for Julie. Julie had her family, her children. So we were just tapping our fingers a bit, waiting for Julie's kids to be old enough so she could sort of consider coming back to the fold. Tracy was always on board with that. We just wanted that original lineup again. So it was time in terms of Julie doing it again. So my dad contacted Julie, and the rest is history, really. Then it was game on.
Nice. And then, of course, you did This Time, great album, which came out, as we mentioned earlier, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, I guess, is when Tracy left. She joined Girl School.
Yeah.
And now you have Jenny Lane in the band, the bass player. How did you come across Jenny? Did she try out? Did you know about her? Did you contact her?
We auditioned, basically. And yeah, we auditioned some great girls, which is, I love the way that we now have so many more female musicians, some fantastic girls.
Yeah.
And girls that are like playing with Beyonce, these massive, brilliant, big female musicians that didn't seem to exist years ago, but I've gone off piece, sorry. So we auditioned, and we auditioned some great girls, but Jenny, we kind of looked at each other, didn't we, when we were auditioning, and we just clicked with her. It sounds silly, but it really was that. So she left. Management in the pub up the road, we ran up to the pub and said, we've decided already, get her back. So we called her back. She was choosing a pizza in a shop up the road. She thought she might have left her travel card or something. But we called her back and said, and she was like, okay, I'll come back. And then we just like, you got the job. And then we went and got absolutely pissed.
I love it. Nice.
Yeah, very rock and roll. But and I haven't looked back since.
Very cool. Yeah. That's great. That's a great story. I love that. You touched on this, and I was curious about this, and I don't want to dwell on it too much because I think it's the important thing is your music. But as females, especially in the late 70s, early 80s, I can't imagine that was easy playing some of those clubs at that time. However, you were very well accepted. But I mean, I think women musicians, especially in America at that time, were not so much. I mean, it was far and few between, especially in rock and metal. You know, and I'm generalizing, but I think, you know, my memory serves me as a kid, there just was not a lot of, I mean, you know, there was, you know, Pat Benatar and, you know, Joan Jett, but there really wasn't a lot. Yeah, great vocalist.
We're huge Runaway fans anyway. So
oh yeah, Runaways.
a massive Runaway fans. Yeah.
I mean,
great.
we used to walk into working men's clubs, and sometimes it would be, you're going to play that? And it's like they were looking at us quite weird, because we were kids.
Yeah.
You know, but we didn't have a lot of negativity.
Good.
We were quite protected as well, because we had my dad. But we talked about this a few occasions, because we get asked this, and we generally really don't have that many bad experiences. I have more in recent years gone on stage and had people shouting, get your things out, and God knows what else. Still, you know, but they're far and few between now, and I just give as good as I get, you know.
Right.
But we did have, we're not even going to say what the gig was, but we did have one really bad experience, which is more recent, where, what was it, you said, can you turn up something, can you turn my snare up something, and he was like, can you hit it harder?
Yeah, no, I said,
this
like,
kind of crap you get.
I really can't hear. It was a monitor guy, and I said, I really can't hear me. I really can't. He said, well, just sing louder.
Just
and it
really
like,
didn't like.
Okay.
He wasn't on board, you know.
Right.
But that's
not that often though.
Good.
You know.
Good. Yeah.
It's really not, and I don't know if we turned a blind eye but yeah, we don't have loads of bad experiences. I think we, especially in more recent, we're talking about, but in the past, but we were protected by that a lot. So I don't know if we missed stuff, but generally people were lovely.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good. I mean, and the great thing is, yeah, as you mentioned before, there's a lot more women in rock and metal now, which is great to see. And it's nice to have you know, that different voice, different approach to some degree. Yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's important. Definitely.
Well, yeah, I mean, I go and see a band, and if it's all guys, great, you know. If it's girls and guys, great. I mean, I don't care. Who gives a shit? You know?
Exactly.
Sorry,
no, you can swear away.
Okay, don't say that to me. But, yeah, I mean, who cares? I mean, stop focusing on gender.
Yeah.
People, you know, you're good or you're not.
Yeah, I agree.
That's, you know, and I think it's much healthier now.
Yeah, I think it is. We need to lose the term female-fronted metal band. I
really don't like that term.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, would you call Fleetwood Mac a female-fronted band?
Yeah, where did this come from? It's, you know,
yeah,
you don't call, you know, I'm going to start, maybe I'll start referring like, oh, Iron Maiden, that male-fronted metal band.
Exactly. And I always do cite, do you call Fleetwood Mac a female-fronted band?
Yeah.
My manager knows it's a real big bugbear of mine. I just don't think it's necessary.
Yeah,
it's not even that horrible or offensive. It's just why.
Yeah, it's kind of silly.
You say, I'm going to see a male-fronted metal band tonight.
Yeah.
You don't say it, so it doesn't need to be said the other way.
Exactly, I agree. Question, I was curious, and you touched on this a little bit here and there with you know, some of the music we've been talking about, but who were kind of the big influences for you? And maybe now, you know, maybe it's kind of a two-pronged question. Who were the big influences for you both as a guitar player, as a drummer, as a vocalist, as songwriters in the early days? And is that still the same now? Are there newer bands that influence you at all?
Well, I mean, we were listening to Iron Maiden, Def Leppard, Van Halen. I mean, Runaways, so many different bands. I mean, I just think it's a mashup of that. I didn't sit down and go, oh, I'm going to copy that.
Right. Yeah.
Or I want to sound, I just think I just play so much of it. Or Black Sabbath, we were listening to so many different Led Zeppelin. I'm a huge Led Zeppelin fan. So a bit before metal, I was always into Led Zeppelin. So, and then I just write, and then what comes out, comes out. I don't typically, I'm sure at points I thought, oh, I want it to sound a bit like that, but you know, I think it's more organic than that. It's just a bit of a mashup. Bands now I listen to, I mean, I do like a lot of heavy metal. Lamb of God is one of my favorite bands. I love Slipknot. I just adore Slipknot. I like bands like Hatebreed, quite a lot of different types of heavier bands.
Yeah. But
still also listen to, you know, other bands, more traditional sort of metal 80s type bands as well. I mean, I love bands from FM. I love FM. I like really musical. Dream Theater. Love Dream Theater. Yeah.
Great band.
So I listen to it really quite extremes. I just don't think listening to one thing is healthy. Just listen to it all. Yeah. But I do appreciate it all. I don't stop myself listening to things because it's too poppy.
Right. Yeah, that's great.
I mean, how about you?
Yeah.
I've just talked for the last 50 minutes.
I pretty much just listen to what Jody listens to. I don't really listen to music that much.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'm like a film buff.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't really.
Huh.
I force her to listen to things, yes. So she listens to what I make her listen to.
Nice. Were there any particular...
we listen to a lot older stuff. We do still get pissed and put on. I mean, Van Halen, I can see that. I just need to look at your wall, really. Yeah. Huge Van Halen fan, really big. Oh, I mentioned Van Halen, didn't I? You know what? I do this and then we go, bye. And then I sit and I go, why didn't I mention them? Kiss. Huge Kiss fan. How do I forget Kiss? I mean,
we do listen to quite a large range. It's not only heavy metal or rock. A little
bit of ABBA.
Yeah.
Love ABBA.
Are there, Julie, are there any particular drummers that influenced you more so than others?
Sandy West, Roger Taylor. Yeah, she's a fantastic drummer. Yeah.
Roger Taylor's fantastic. You've always been a big Queen fan. So you didn't mention Queen. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. Yeah, incredible, and an incredible songwriter as well. I always kind of gravitated. I mean, I love Freddie Mercury, but I always kind of gravitated towards a lot of the Roger Taylor's, penned songs in a lot of ways. I don't. They would tend to be my favorite songs on the albums often.
Yeah. He's very talented. Yeah. He's got a great voice as well.
Yeah. I almost wish he would sing more.
Very high. Yeah.
Very cool stuff.
What was the band I was going to say? Bugger. It's gone. I mean, even things like Judas Priest. Used to listen to a lot of Judas Priest when you were younger. We listened to them all. Robin Trower.
Y&T.
Oh, yeah.
Y&T. Oh my God. Stan the Sweaty Marquee adore Y&T. David Meniketti.
Yeah. Very cool stuff. Yeah.
We've actually got quite a few in there that we always kick ourselves bloody forgetting, don't we? But yeah, I mean, I was always down the Marquee. And at that time, there was 2-3 metal bands on a week. It was absolutely brilliant, and a lot of stuff coming over from the States. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, there's a lot of bands I've forgotten I listened to.
Nice.
Yeah, so unfortunately I can't remember them all, but yeah, I mean, it was such a fantastic time, and it really was. I mean, 2-3 metal bands a week, that's a lot.
Yeah, cool.
Sometimes it would be more than that, and it was an explosion, and I love being part of it as a someone in the audience as much as playing it.
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing at that time too, it was affordable. You could go to lots of shows. Now it's you pay a fortune to go to anything. It's ridiculous.
I used to blag in as well. Let me in. No.
Yeah. I was curious, you mentioned a lot of music that you listen to when you're writing, especially an album. you know, if you're working on an album, are you the type of musician that can't listen, you can't be listening to things because, you know, you're afraid you're going to, you know, subconsciously infuse that into your music? Or do you still, because I've always been interested because I've talked to different musicians, and some people like, yeah, I can't listen to anything when I'm writing. And other people's like, oh yeah, I listen to all sorts of stuff when I'm writing. And sometimes purposely because I want to get that vibe.
Yeah. I tend to not even consider that. I just write, and I probably am listening to stuff as well. And if it goes in subconsciously, then hey, I've changed the way I write because of technology. I tend to write riffs first, and then I used to always sit down with guitar and write. And now sometimes I still do that, but now sometimes I lay tracks down because I have a studio and I can just put stuff down, and then me playing and singing, because that can determine how you write the pattern of it. So if I write the riffs and just lay some stuff and then sing over it, it can be a completely different sort of vibe. Sometimes bloody hard to do both together, and I have to learn that. It's given me more, you know, scope in that respect. Do I listen to other stuff at the same time? Probably, and it probably does go in. But I don't think my stuff, people can typically go, oh, that sounds like that. I don't know. You tell me. Do you go, oh, that's a bit?
No, I think I've always found your sound very original. I mean, I what I love about it is it definitely fits into the new wave of British heavy metal overall, that vibe, that feel, but it never sounded like you were trying to be, you know, Def Leppard or Saxon or Samson or anybody else, Tyrant.
I think it has to be. Yeah, and for me, it's I listen to it all, and then I keep saying mash up, but it really is literally it, because it will influence you. If I was listening to Beethoven all that time, I don't think I'd be coming up with this stuff. That's what is in my head all the time on my headphones. That's what I'm listening to every day. So, but I let it organically, just what happens.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's great.
Okay.
With the so it sounds like you basically kind of create a demo, and then I guess do you get with the rest of the band, with your sister, and you send it to them and say,
I send it to them, so they get the flavor and can learn it generally, and then we sort of bash it out in rehearsal, which is a bit, what I love about modern technology. I can just send the files over and the harmonies, and it's just really cool.
Nice. Do songs ever get changed in that process? Where do you send it to Julie and she's like, I think you should do this. I think we should do this instead, or something like that.
Well, I don't say you have to play these. I mean, also it'll be some shit drum pattern put down maybe. I mean, these are loose. This is to give the song more than anything. So I might try and make the drums so she gets the pattern. But I mean, then she just the feel. That's it. Thank you. And then she'll go with it. And Jen, I don't even always put bass on her to say, you put what you want.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's up to you. This is the song, and then it sort of comes together in the rehearsal room eventually. So
I do. I'm so sorry. I do kind of stick a lot to what Jody has sent me, because it does have that feel that she wants in her head, because it is her song. So I do kind of stick with that. But she's very open with. But just like if you want to change it, and she's like, I'll hear it. So it's all like a teamwork sort of.
So it's very organic and very collaborative, is what it
sounds like. I'm not a drummer. I'm not a bass player, and to be in a band and enjoy being in a band, you must have your own creative flow. So I mean, I'm not a dictator.
Yeah. Have you?
Am I? Am I? Say yes.
No, you're not. No. Fine.
And we had talked about this earlier, just with all the cancellations of gigs and things. Have you as a band, especially, kind of who knows what the future is going to look like at this point? I mean, you do have things lined up, which is great, but we'll kind of see. Have you considered doing any live streams or, and posting those on your page? Has that come up in conversation at all?
Broached it, but not really. We didn't kind of want to.
Maybe we have to put something out on.
We've done a cappella stuff.
Oh, okay.
rehearsal rooms and stuff.
Oh,
But,
yeah, I have seen some of that. Yeah, that's
yeah. And we did put a little clip of us, but that was in the rehearsal room, so that's not what you asked. Yeah, no, we didn't consider that. And I don't know why. Well, first off, it was a technology thing. I was kind of like, well, sound and it's going to be out of time with each other. But now I know that on Zoom you can. Am I talking out my bum?
No,
So
I think
correct
you
it-
can't. I mean, I don't know a lot about it in terms of how to. I know I think there's like Facebook has some live streaming capabilities. The problem is if I think it's kind of how you do it because they put limitations. I think because of licensing and money. I don't.
Oh,
I honestly don't know how it works.
Yeah,
but I do know there are bands. For instance, I know like Rob Flynn and the bass player of Machine Head do a thing every single Friday. It's just the two of them and then they have backtracks and they do it live and drink beer and rock out. And sometimes they'll play an entire album. They'll usually go for an hour. Yeah, so if you go to Machine Head's page, their Facebook page, yeah, they do a thing every single Friday. And I've seen that with other bands and some people doing concerts, sometimes they have to do it for free, I think, because of weird licensing things with Facebook. And I don't know. I don't really know how it works, to be honest. But anyway, it's just something
I never say never.
No.
So maybe that's something we should look at. But I mean, I just want to get out and do it in the real world,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
I've just been an old-fashioned person. I don't know. I just want to get back on a stage with, real people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something maybe we should look at. It'd be fun, actually. Yeah, it could be fun.
Yeah, that would be cool. It's something to think about.
Yes, definitely.
I can watch. And hopefully someday you'll get back to the States. Because I would definitely love to see Rock Goddess live, or I'll talk my wife into going to England so we can see you live.
We'd love to do America. I mean, we've never played.
Oh, you haven't? For some reason?
States, no.
Oh, okay.
We were about to go to the States when Dee got pregnant, and then the band couldn't go. We were about to go to the States then. So it's not happened. We didn't play gigs though. We went and met the record company and stuff like that, but we never. Yeah, so we really, really want to play there.
Yeah,
and we have a lot of people on our Facebook from the States that are, please come over, and obviously it's got even more bloody difficult because of the pandemic and whatnot. But I mean, it's still something we've not ruled out. We'd love to.
That would be great. That would be
cool.
It
would be fantastic. Yeah.
Extend that Diamond Head tour to the States.
I'll have a word with them.
That would be cool.
Be great. Yeah.
I was gonna. You both, and I think this was some time ago, probably back in the 80s. You both did some guest work with Samson, correct? And I think Tyron as well. Or Titan.
Oh, Titan. I sung. Yeah, because I dated Cal Swan in England in the very early days for a couple of years. Yeah. That's not the only reason. that's the only reason I was on the album. That didn't sound very good at all. But yeah, I sung on one of their tracks. Sung on quite a few actually. Mama's Boys album we sung on. What was the other one you said?
Samson, right?
Samson, yeah. Oh yes, when Nicky was singing.
Okay.
I sung a thing with him. Yeah. No, we did quite a few actually. Yeah.
Nice.
But it was like that then though, just because we invited people to come and sing and stuff. But that wasn't released. You'll hear that another time.
Oh, cool.
But so I think that was quite common then that people just sort of. I think do people still do that now? They must do. I'm just babbling now.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I mean, part of it is, as a fan of that era of music, I think I romanticize about, all these bands hanging out together all the time. And I don't know if that was true or not, But
Yeah.
in my brain, I'm like, oh, that would have been so cool. Like, yeah, walking to a marquee, walking to any of these clubs, and there's Def Leppard and there's Iron Maiden and there's Rock Goddess all hanging out, having a beer together. Like, I don't know if that was true, but
There were elements of that, especially in the 80s. Everyone went to the marquee, and across the road was a bar called, still there, Samaritz, and we always hung out there. And there were times there were quite famous people in there. Lemmy hung out there all the time.
Yeah, and
I never think of the names when I want to, but yeah.
We had like a big house, and we would have bands come over to our house and socialise.
And jam, because we had a rehearsal room at the top.
oh wow,
FM used to come up and jam. What other bands? God.
Yeah, so it was
There's other bands.
It was very social.
Yeah, it was really cool. I don't know if the neighbours were that happy, but
did you ever record any of those jam sessions?
do you know what? Isn't that annoying? No, I mean, what we'd have had was one of them. Then.
Right. Yeah.
That's me pressing the tape recorder, by the way. Oh, Lee Allen. Yeah, big friends with Lee Allen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did she come up and jam with us? She used to come round. Yeah.
We went for a Greek meal with
Oh,
Lee Allen.
we went millions of times to that
Smashing
Greek
the plates
restaurant.
on the
Yeah,
ends.
big. She is amazing.
Lovely lady.
Yeah, but we used to get royally drunk with her and her band and hang out. So yeah, there was some of that.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah.
Good times. Good times.
Yeah. That sounds lovely. Yeah, it sounds really fun. Just like I said, I
That's
kind of
rock and roll,
romanticize
isn't it?
about all of this, these bands getting pissed together and rocking out.
Oh no, that definitely did happen. That I'm telling you now. Yeah, don't always remember it did happen, but
Right.
I know it did happen.
Yeah, nice.
And especially then.
Good life.
Yeah, it was a good life. And we did in London all hang out a lot, didn't we, as metal bands? Yeah, the NWOBHM sort of crowd, as it were.
Do you foresee, like, maybe these exist? I'm hoping they exist. Do you foresee, if they do exist, photos of that era of hanging out and it being in the box set? I'm hoping there'll be a booklet or something maybe with it, and photos of the early years and
some old audio tapes of jamming with bands up in our.
Have you?
Yeah, but I don't think that would ever go out anywhere.
No, this is news to me.
oh wow.
Yeah, I've got old audio tapes of lots.
Okay, well, I should be squeezing them out of her once we end this into. Yeah, I'd like to hear them. Photos. I mean, on this, did we put stuff on this time? In me and Lemmy and Doro or whatever. Yeah, in the booklet, there's some pictures in the album.
Cool.
Insert, that word I was looking for. I don't know.
Didn't take enough pictures back in the day.
No, it was different, wasn't it? We
Yeah.
didn't have sort of
Didn't have
cameras to
phones
hand
and-
like that.
Yeah.
So you're relying on photographers being there a lot of times. Some of these come from just photographers being there. And
Should have taken a lot more photos.
it's so easy now.
Yeah.
Too easy
Well-
now, really.
Yeah. Sometimes to our detriment.
Yeah, really. I don't want that photographed.
Yeah. all over
Me
Facebook.
falling over.
Yeah. But I there's got to be. I bet there's some archives out there of some professional
Oh, they will.
photographers that were at shows that took pictures of, especially in those early years. That would be really cool to see some of those, especially when you were kids. Playing.
I used to get up and jam, at the marquee with Dumpy Rust. I bet you probably do. You know Dumpy's Rusty Nuts?
What? Sorry, what is it?
Dumpy's Rusty Nuts.
No, I do
That
not.
I used to get up, sing Tush a lot. I've been up, I've been down. That one.
Oh, okay.
Get up and do that at the market all the time. Do you remember that? Yeah. I forget these things, and you're sort of triggering these memories, but
Right.
someone's writing something down for me. Oh yeah, I did a harangue thing with Metallica, drinking, and funnily enough, it linked to me you a little bit. It was a pub that did sort of different types of ales, very strong, and basically it was a feature in Kerrang, and I drank them under the table. So says the Kerrang article.
Nice.
I think we were all pretty pissed, to be
Right.
quite frank, but yeah, that was good fun.
Yeah, nice.
Needs to do more of that now still.
Pardon?
I think we need to do more of that now. Get bands to go out and drink together and that.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's kind of what it was. It was just an excuse to, but that was good. Yeah, that was cool. There's tons of stuff. Thor, do you remember Thor, the big singer?
Oh yeah,
Thor?
yeah.
Yeah. There's a picture of me holding him up. I don't know how I did that. Then I had a bad back in later years. Yeah, it's good stuff. It was a great time. And everyone was really cool. I'm sure there are arseholes, but I mean, it was happy. It was a happy time.
It seems like, and maybe I'm wrong. It seems like the metal world now is much more, for lack of a better, and I don't mean this in any sort of an insult or anything. It seems like now everything's very professional and very almost clinical to some. I mean, not the music, but just kind of how tours are and how. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of partying going on, but it just seems like there's a lot of just kind of the way it's set up, and it's all. I don't know. I'm probably. Way
I mean,
off
have you seen the film about Motley Crue?
Oh yeah.
I mean, enough said. I mean, that's partying on a level. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's
Right.
unbelievable level of party. It was.
You can do that when you're younger as well.
You can. I think bands probably now much fitter, keep after themselves a lot more. Because then we just got pissed all the time, which is great.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm saying. Then we got pissed all the time. I mean, I think bands, singers look after their voices more, and they physically have to do grueling tours that are very long and need to stay in good shape. And that's great, but I didn't happen then. I don't think so much.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of drinking, I have one last question for you both. So as you know, my page is Brews and Tunes. So I pair heavy metal with craft beer.
Yeah.
So it's a Saturday night. What beer or alcohol is is Jody? What beer and alcohol is Julie drinking? And what album are you spinning?
A nice glass for me. A nice glass of red wine. It has to be a nice glass of red wine.
It's so fussy.
Jody will vouch.
I just drink the slops.
Yeah, I can't drink it if it's not good. So.
You like a Merlot or a Malbec, don't you?
A nice glass of red wine and very wide range of music for me. What do I go to? I don't know. So I just don't go to one thing.
Y&T, you'll go back to old stuff like Y&T.
Yeah, I find it is a lot of old stuff for me.
I'll buy a cheap box of no good shit, and I'm happy with that. And I'm classless. I've got no class. So I like a nice crisp glass of white wine, and I do listen to a lot of heavier stuff now. So I do. I mean, I keep saying Lamb of God, but I think Lamb of God are absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, brilliant band.
Yeah, but then I'll flip it and then I'll listen to, Motorhead or, I just flip around. I'd like having Apple Music where I just go, give me this, give me this, give me this, give me this advertisement for Apple. Yeah. But I like to be able to, I love that I can just find anything and have it like that. So
I mean, because we live like 10 minutes, like she's 10 minutes down the road from me, and we do get together quite a lot as a family with my kids who are adults, and Richard, our manager, comes down, so we do socialise quite a lot
and throw ourselves around headbanging.
Yeah, so everything will go on. AC/DC.
Oh my God, AC/DC. We did mention AC/DC.
And then when we're really drunk, a bit Cliff Richard, maybe.
There you go.
I mean, all sorts goes on. But AC/DC. How did we forget that? I mean, huge influence in your life. Yeah. We used to, as kids, see who could headbang, do the Angus of the way we want. Yeah.
Nice. Very cool.
It all goes on, yeah.
Jody and Julie, thank you so very much for meeting with me today. This has been a pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure too. Thank
really
you
fun.
so much for having us.
Yeah, and
I
for
hope,
everybody
I hope
watching,
it was okay.
oh, it was
Also,
great.
I forgot Slayer. I'm a huge Slayer fan.
Yeah, Slayer. Yeah.
How could I forget Slayer? Yes, I had to get that in. Yeah.
For everybody watching this, please check out Rock Goddess if you have not. There's a link in the description below. Also, keep an eye out there. Hopefully, in the not too distant future, we're going to be getting a kick-ass box set. And then also, if you're in the UK, keep an eye out for the tours that are going to be happening in the not too distant future as well. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lovely talking to you.
It's been amazing.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right, take
Bye.
care.
Take care. Bye.